Hello everyone, and welcome to this month's episode of What's for Dinner. Today I'm actually making a recipe that I made for a previous episode, but because of something that my camera decided to do, I ended up losing all of the footage for that episode and I had to make something different. So you could technically call this the lost episode, even though I lost all of the footage of the first time that I made this, so I'm not even sure if the recipe that I'm using is the same recipe that I used when I made this a few years ago. But as you can see from the title below, I'm making a creamy baked spaghetti recipe. This is not a tasty recipe, this is something I found somewhere else on the internet, I don't exactly remember where, and I'm going to be making it for you today. So what I've already done is I've boiled a pound of spaghetti, and it's actually sitting off to the side over here. What's happening behind me now is I'm browning some beef, and it's coming along very nicely. I have the oven preheated, well it's currently preheating, to 350 degrees. This is a pound of ground beef that I'm cooking here in the skillet on the stove. Once this is cooked through, I'm going to add a 24-ounce jar of any kind of spaghetti sauce. I have some Prego stuff that I have setting off to the side here that I'll be pouring into this meat once it is cooked thoroughly. Okay, the meat is frying up very nicely. It's just about done. I'm going to add in my 24 ounces of marinara sauce. I got the roasted garlic Parmesan Prego brand, not a sponsor. Who would sponsor someone with 231 subscribers? Anyway, I don't normally get them this large because the only one that comes in a size smaller than this is the traditional. And so I thought, why not go a little bit outside the box and get one that has a little flavor to it. So in a moment, after I drain the fat from this meat, I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to let it simmer for a little bit, and we're going to make the creamy part of this, which is a cup each of sour cream, cottage cheese, 8 ounces of cream cheese, and some garlic thrown in with a little salt and pepper. Alright, I drained the fat. That was fun. Now we're going to add this jar of sauce. Ooh, that smells good. It smells like spaghetti. Alright, in you go. I'm going to bring the heat down a bit. That looks about good. Mix it into the meat. Alright, so then it says to let it simmer, so I'm going to do just that. I'm going to just let it sit here. It's halfway between low and medium, so it's not quite high, but it's not quite at low. So I'm going to let it simmer. I'm going to get us set, bring some more things on, clean up a bit because I did make a mess, and then we'll be ready to make the next part of the recipe. Now essentially you were supposed to boil the noodles and cook the beef at the same time, but since I only have one large burner on my stove, I decided to cook the noodles first, set them aside, and then have the meat simmer while I make the creamy part of the recipe. So what this calls for is pretty much 8 ounces of cream cheese, which is back behind this bowl, and then you have a cup of sour cream, a cup of sour cream, and a cup of cottage cheese, along with 2 cloves of minced garlic, which is about, I have a jar back there, it's about half teaspoon of the cloves inside that. So I'm going to start first by bringing out the cream cheese. You want the cream cheese to be at about room temperature. This has been sitting out for a few minutes, so it's not quite cold, but it's not quite, it might be there. I think it's about there. So I'm going to break it up a bit because we're going to have to break it up at some point here. Okay, then I'm going to take this sour cream. I'm going to get a cup of this, make it easier on myself, just take that off. I need a cup of this. Actually, honestly, maybe this whole thing. Yeah, it's good. It wasn't quite this whole container, but it was close enough. Dump that in next. And then you want another cup of cottage cheese. Don't like cottage cheese too much. In Pennsylvania, we call this schmear case. That's good. Alright, then goes the schmear case. And then after this, 2 cloves of minced garlic. 1, 2. And then we mix this together. And I see now why they want the cream cheese at room temperature, because it's easier to mix. I might need to get my electric mixer out here. It's working slowly. Alright, so I finally finished mixing this all together. The one thing that I forgot to mention is that you also have to put in some salt and pepper just to taste a little bit, so I did that a moment ago. but I got most of the cream cheese lumps out of it, and it looks pretty good. It smells better than you would think, you know, all this cheese and whatnot that's in here. So I'm just going to set this off to the side. I have my 13 by 9 pan here, which I'm going to spray with some cooking spray. Okay, now comes the fun part, the layering. So as I said earlier, I cooked the noodles beforehand. I'm going to get them now. Here are the noodles. I'm going to set them right over here. Okay, now what we need to do is layer. You're going to do a layer of noodles, a layer of cream cheese, and then a layer of the meat. However many you need. I think the last time I did this I made 2 layers, and then you can top it with some shredded cheddar cheese or any kind of cheese that you wish to top it with. Okay, so first I'm going to take half of the noodles here. Let me turn the heat off of the meat here. These have been sitting for a little bit, so they're a little stiff. So you want half of them in here. Alright, that's about half. Alright, so now I'm going to spread this out a bit. They're still hot. They've been off the stove for a while. Okay, and once you do that, you want to get about half of your cream cheese mixture into here. So, that looks good. And then I'm going to get this guy and spread it out. Okay, and then we do a bit of the meat. Spread that out. Okay, and then you just do another layer. So this is going to be a 2-layer one. I think it's mostly supposed to be a 2-layer. So I'll put the rest of this spaghetti on the top, rest of the cream, and then lastly the rest of the meat. Get your cheddar cheese, or whatever kind of cheese you want. Like I said, I'm just using cheddar. You don't have to use cheddar. And then it goes into the oven at 350 for 20 minutes to half an hour until it's hot and bubbly. So we're going to do that now. First, let me just show you what it looks like. Even uncooked, it looks very appetizing. But I think we'll cook it first, or bake it at least, and then we'll go from there. So into the oven, 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll be back shortly. So it's been about 25 minutes or so. I checked on it a moment ago, and it looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and take it out and plate it up, I guess. There we go. That looks, here, let me show you on camera if I can hold it. That looks beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and plate this up and try it for you. Hope it's good. Now when serving it, it showed, at least on the recipe that I got online, to use tongs. So I recently, within the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, purchased a brand new pair of tongs because I lost one of my pair. So to get the full effect, we'll just go right on in. Oh, look at that. Oh yes, that looks beautiful. Didn't get a whole lot, but... Alright, let's give it a whirl. This looks really good. It looks also very hot. So I'm going to be very careful to not scald my palate, which will probably end up happening. It smells amazing. That tastes exactly like the one that I made a few years ago. That is honestly so good. You know, I wasn't sure how it was going to be because the noodles weren't like fully ready to eat, but the recipe did say to stop boiling them a minute before the package tells you to. Well, this is just another fantastic recipe. So thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any recipes that you would like me to make, leave them below in comments and I'll check them out. Until next time, take care, God bless, and we'll see you later. This is delicious.